What is up? And welcome back to another live stream repair. Hope you all didn't mind that I took yesterday off. And, well, we gotta catch up today, so here we go. We're gonna start it off with Desmond's No Power HomePod. And then we've also got Jeff, Rudy, Linda, Way Across Life, Chris, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 anonymous no power pods and an anonymous bricked pod. Quite a lot here. Yes, yes. Jeff! Yes! Jeff has made it. Perfect. Okay. So with Desmond's up first, we'll go ahead and do Jeff next, since he's here with us. Then we will knock out a number of the anonymous no power pods. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we've got Rudy. Oh geez, okay. Well, let's see. We're gonna do this way instead. We'll do them. And then them. Then them. Them. Uh-oh, we need a new line. We got 179. Did we get 187 up there? No, we did not. So we will put Rudy in front of 187. We will put 195 in front of 185. Then we've got WAL and Chris. And last but not least, Linda. What a queue. I do not think we're going to get through all of those today, but we're going to give it our best shot. There we go. Let's get ourselves all situated here. And, oh geez, look at that chat. We are lit up today. Aaron, welcome, welcome. Yes, yes indeed. Oh man, I cannot wait to finish your radio. I really want to finish your radio. And I've got an iPod Classic that somebody sent in that they're waiting for us to mod up. So I've got a couple of fun projects for all you fine folks out here looking for something a little different than the HomePods that we usually work on. We just got to get through this this bonkers holiday season here. Hopefully things slow down and we can catch up by this weekend, and I can have some time to work on some of those fun projects. Oh boy. Well, let's see here what we've got. Desmond with no power, no lights, no nothing there. We've got a couple of watts getting pulled from the wall, which tells us something is shorted out, most likely. It's not like a blown fuse. That wouldn't pull any power. And we've seen that now infamous Schottky diode pull a particular amount of power within a range to know pretty much as soon as we plug it into the wall what's wrong with it without even opening it up. Like the Schottky diode failure we'll likely see here, tends to pull around 3 to 7 watts from the wall. And then you've got the less common short on the logic board. That's like a tiny little capacitor here and there. Those are more like one-offs. Those are pretty rare, but they tend to only pull about 1 or 2 watts from the wall. And then of course you've got the big fuse on the power supply. That, if it gets blown, which we've seen, but it's pretty rare, would obviously pull 0 watts from the wall, since it's not allowing any power to flow through at all and complete any circuit. Let's see. Oh, you have another broken pod for me. Okay, I will definitely hook you up with another shipping label there for you, Jeff. Obviously, we're a little behind here, but it's the holidays. I think we got a good excuse here now. Can you exchange a broken one for a refurbished one and pay the difference? We can absolutely basically work something out like that. If you've got a broken one, what you can do is send it in, and if you're looking for like one that works and something in better condition physically, then we can work something out where you're probably not paying as much as, you know, trading one in plus the difference for a refurb. Want to make you the best deal without, or while using as few parts as possible on my end. So what we would likely do is do whatever it takes to fix and make what you've got look pretty, as opposed to doing a whole exchange for another one. Since I've got so many, I've got so many spare meshes and such sitting around, if it's dirty and dingy, I can clean it up. And that would be a better use of my parts than trying to put together a whole working unit and then getting yours in one piece and having to break it back down for parts again. But I have been thinking about something like that, where I offer some sort of like mail-in like exchange program, right, where you can pay to have a HomePod with return packing materials shipped to you, and if you return an old broken HomePod back to us, we will give you like some sort of core charge back, or whatever you would call it. I'm trying to figure that out because I would want to make the money that comes from that go into a specific account that has insurance and guarantees that, basically I want to be able to have it all in one place so I don't have to worry about not having the money to give people what they paid for back. For example, like I pay rent, if that comes out of the same account and I didn't budget correctly, then suddenly I have to tell people to wait until I can give them their core refund back or whatever. There's a term for this, I think, for that kind of account I'm thinking of. Do I sell ugly ones that work? I've never had anybody ask that. I wouldn't really be opposed, but I just, because of how expensive broken ones are and how few that I have at the moment, I wouldn't be able to offer any kind of discounts. But I've got plenty. I keep all of the parts, even if the, like, you know, for meshes that we swap out or ones that people paid to have replaced with nicer ones. I keep all the old ones around, just in case there's some kind of creative use that we can come up with them. Like maybe some kind of funny, like, fashion merch, or finding and testing different ways to clean them and color them. Torture testing, like what can they tolerate. But whenever I sell a refurb to anybody, by default I try to pick the best looking parts that I've got around at the moment. Try to make it worth it for people. I get enough people that say like $160 with shipping included is like too much, and it's like, if you think about it, you can't buy broken ones for less than like $80 to $100 on average right now, not including shipping and tax. And then the going industry rate apparently for these repairs, everybody seems to have settled around $50 to $70 for the repair, so that puts a refurbished HomePod at about the exact same price as it would cost you to buy a broken one and pay for it to get fixed. But I'm not here to argue with people that don't think it's worth it, so. There are plenty of people out there like myself that just want a bunch of working HomePods to fill out their house and have that sweet multi-room audio experience. And like, I don't care how it looks either. Chances are I'm gonna get it all dirty and beat up anyways. It would be a shame for me to use good condition parts on myself just to bang them up. Like I've got one HomePod in particular that I take with me in a traveling case that, you know, I try not to care too much about its physical condition, because that's just gonna add more uncontrollable worry to my life, you know? Obviously I'm not throwing the thing around, but and it's not like when I'm not traveling I'm not using it either. I stick it in the hallway. There's this nice little like cubby cutout right in the middle of my hallway at home, and it's a perfect spot for a HomePod. Yeah, Jeff. I'll crunch the numbers and let you know. Well, no! Get out of here. Alright. Playing games today. Alright, let's give that a chance to cool off here. I don't want to cook this stuff. There. Absolutely beautiful. I'll take a few extra seconds to make sure those are nice and square on there. At least perfectly centered on the pads of the board and not touching anything else. And get as much contact as possible. Now we move on to what's actually dead here. Those 4 capacitors were just DC filters. We replaced those in every HomePod as part of the little bit of maintenance we do to keep these things going for as long as possible. Those are ceramic capacitors, so they naturally decay and go bad over time, whether they're being used or not. They go bad, and that leads to death farts and all sorts of bass issues. Especially at this age, I don't want to test them and only replace them if they're bad. We've tried that in the past and it bit us. So now we just replace them every time. I don't want to get any HomePods back for anything that we can prevent. Steezy, welcome, welcome. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you all. Let's see if I can get that bubble out of there. Nope, it's part of that capacitor now. That's okay though, it's not touching anything else. Yeah, if any of you folks want to buy a refurb HomePod, you just let me know what you're looking for. Shoot me an email. I'll get something fixed up for you folks. I try to live stream when I refurbish them as well. Because why not? It makes no difference to me to turn the camera on and hit stream. Except for all the people that like it. Even though we've seen it here thousands of times. Sorry, I gotta kinda shut up for a sec here. These can get fiddly. Ooh, the flex cable showed up and it fixed you up very good. That is great to hear, Steezy. HomePod 2 not powering on. Yeah. There's a few different scenarios that I've seen now. There's someone in my Discord server that popped in I think a day or so ago, and they have their 2nd gen HomePod apart. They found something on the amp shorted out. It was a whole chip, but it was like completely blown up, so they can't identify it. And I have a second gen amp around here somewhere. I was going to read that off from the short that I've seen involves something that's connecting from the amp to the power supply. It's not a power supply issue, it's an amp issue, but when I tape off all of the small lines, when I cover up all of the small lines for the power supply, and I only leave the big ones, or the ones for the big pads exposed, it turns right on. And what's strange is I had somebody else send in a second gen for no power, and they even took it to the Apple store. Would not turn on. Confirmed dead. But they wouldn't do anything about it, of course, so they sent it in to us so we can give it our best shot. Of course, when we got it, it turned right on. I didn't even have to take the thing apart. It was quite a surprise on one of our live streams. I think it was a few weeks ago. I was kind of excited to crack open and take a look at possibly a new one, but that never happened. It just worked. Yeah, I'll let you guys know if I find any fixes for the second gens. But so far, I haven't found much of a consistent failure yet, I guess is what I'm saying. So it's been tricky. I guess that's a good thing. That means that the second gen, at least for the most part, seems to be more reliable in the hardware department. Minus, I guess, touch issues. Alright. It's alive. Yes. Is it worth it fixing HomePod minis? Not unless you can get them for cheap and you're just fixing them for yourself. They're too fiddly to be worth charging less than like 30 to 40 bucks to fix one. And really, even then, it's kind of a tough repair to accept for that price, for the time that they tend to take. Not to mention, you can get another used one for about that much if you look. Joseph, welcome, welcome. This one's on one of the funny iOS versions, or HomePod or tvOS versions, I should say.
I'm having trouble connecting.
There we go. Very good, very good.
I'm having trouble.
Yeah, I know. We'll stick that onto the test bench. Boy, do we have a lot to catch up on here. Let's get this all organized. A bunch of stuff we still have to ship out. Okay. We got Jeff here, the man, the myth, the miracle. Mr. Jeff. They have the blinkies. Let's get them up here. And let's let our next repair know that they're coming up soon. Where are they? 188. Here we go. There we go. Okay. We got 188 emailed. Jeff is blinking. Alright. Let's do some fun stuff here. Where is... We'll need that. Let's get this off. I just cut my fingernails too, so I know you folks can get it off if I can get it off. Nothing weird. We're just fixing HomePods here. Let's get this put on so we don't scratch the top up when we're working on it upside down as it needs to be in order to put it in DFU mode and restore its software, or at least give it our best shot. We don't know if its issue is caused by a hardware problem on the logic board or just a little software hiccup. And you can't really find out without trying. So here we go. We'll get that screwed in. And we'll get our Mac out here. Let me put myself in Do Not Disturb because people love to text me while we're streaming. And let's see, we'll pull up Configurator. We'll pull up Terminal. Let's make sure our IP .61. That should be good. Yes. Welcome to my Mac. Close your eyes, don't look. I will know if you're looking. Alright. Let's plug our USB cable in. Let's plug our power into our HomePod. And let's run the magic commands. Gasterpone. Put it into the state we need to push our custom firmware. And then iDevice restore. Here's the fun part. We wait. Most hardware errors make this process fail pretty quickly though, so we will see. Fingers crossed for Jeff here. SB, welcome back. That NAND is cooked. It is waiting for the storage chip on the logic board. Not good. But nothing that we're not prepared for here. I've got a logic board here ready to go for him already. Yes, indeed, that did not want to restore. Alright, I'm going to pull its plug. Let's get this screen out of here. And let's get this thing fixed up. For the sake of time and because of how many HomePods we've got here waiting to get fixed, how we're going to do this, there is a way to possibly repair the logic board and get past that error trying to restore it. But since I've got plenty of working logic boards for white HomePods sitting around, and it is a chance that a hardware repair attempt would even fix it, could be a lot of time wasted for nothing. So we're going to jump straight to replacing its logic board with another one. And we're going to take it all the way apart and make it all worth it by doing the usual hardware maintenance. That is taking a peek at everything and making sure nothing smells funny. And replacing those DC filters that love to go bad and cause death farts and all sorts of base issues. And if it's got the same Schottky diode that likes to fail and cause no power, we'll get that replaced so it doesn't. Ooh. And of course, while we button it up, we will replace the foam subwoofer gasket with a nice new solid rubber one. Not that there's anything wrong with the old foam one, but the rubber will last a lot longer actually. And it does give a nice little noticeable upgrade in the bass response, so Almost like a second gen. Let's get these little stringies out of here. We don't need you getting in the way. Alright, here is the main culprit. I'll stick this in the pile of boards to try to fix at some point. We'll have a stream where we do nothing but try to fix those things when we're all caught up here. Until then, let's knock the rest of this out. Do I have it in the description? Where's my mouse? Edit. Yes, cool. I am still giving away 3 of my custom HomePod USB docks. I'll be picking the winners January 1st. If you want to enter for a chance, the rules and all that jazz, just fill out my survey. There's a link in the description. And I'll be picking one winner for each of the 3 colors. I've got a black one, a white one, and a mystery color. You won't know what it is until the announcement. Have I ever broken that black plastic? Which black plastic? Oh no, which one are you talking about? Black plastic A? Black plastic B? Black plastic C? Which one are you talking about? B. This guy, the basket. Yeah, I've cracked a few of these in my times. If it's a crack around any of this, or heck, even these, I haven't broken any of these. I've opened the HomePods up before and found these already broken. I've got enough of these sitting around that I just replace it. But if you're desperate, as a fix for yourself, you can take your soldering iron and just simply plastic weld the bits back together, and if you've got any cracks around this, you can plastic weld that back together. It'll be just fine. This, if it's cracked, has to be replaced because it seals things. This does not seal anything. Glue or no glue, it doesn't seal anything. And it can be cracked and technically there won't be any air leaking through or making it sound bad aside from any potential rattling. That is what the 99% isopropyl alcohol is for. We drip that and swirl it around to eat that glue that holds that plastic speaker basket down so that when we go to pry it up, it doesn't put up too much of a fight. Ooh, got him. All right. I think I've earned myself a busted kneecap and a stubbed toe, jeez. A beer. Cheers, folks. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year and all that jazz. Yes. I make sure no one's been texting me. Cool. We have been left unbothered. Let's get some replacement filters on here so we don't fry a perfectly good subwoofer. You know what I should do? I should pull up my Discord. I should let them know we're streaming, huh? Do them a favor. 15 updates. I should post on Twitter too, huh? Am I signed in? No. Did it save my password, at least? Yeah. Alright. Cool. Let's tweet something. Alright, we have tweeted. Where's my Discord? There's my Discord, the announcements channel. Ping. Alright, the Discord has been discorded. Here we go. Let's get some flux on here. This removes the corrosion from the pads that pretty much instantly happens. And we can't have any corrosion there, otherwise we won't get a proper solder alloy that holds our parts together. Like an interlocked handshake, or an interlocked hand holding of our parts. Clean and shiny. Beautiful. That's what we're looking for. I'm going to put a little more on there because you can't have too much. And this is that good no clean stuff, so it's not going to hurt anything. Four fancy fresh new fart filters coming right up. A 1, a 2, 3, And 4. Oh, one of them said goodbye. Let's get that back there. Well, it said I'm gonna make friends with the other one. Perfect. Twitter is indeed cursed, but you know, I try to ignore it. Try to ignore the cursed parts and just use it for what I want to use it for. And that's sharing interesting content and trying to find interesting content. But it's, I mean, it's always kind of been the internet's toilet stall, so to say, but, yeah, it's really gotten worse. Giving it a new Shocky diode here, so it doesn't have the most common no power issue, and that should be good. Oh, come on. Cross the barrier. Yes. Okay. Oh. Well, it said goodbye. Oopsies. Let's get that back on there. That's the first time that's happened to me. I guess I didn't wait long enough for it to cool down, and it just I blew it right off. There we go. Kinda lucky nothing else came off then, I guess, huh? Alright. Beer already kicking in. The holidays have been kicked in since we started. Also, welcome, Alex. Welcome back. Happy to have you back. And I hope your holidays have been doing good. Not too eventful. Unless that's the sort of thing you're looking for. I like to go out and do a bunch of things that no one else is doing during holidays like Christmas. Like my wife and I took our kid to the aquarium yesterday. They added a whole new building and like 2 floors and expansions worth. It's a whole nother aquarium. And they were running a Christmas special. It was only $30 a person. That's great. I think it's like normally $50 a person. So, and traffic was awesome. There was no one out. So we parked right next to the aquarium in a garage that we don't normally park in whenever we go downtown, because there wasn't there wasn't a bunch of traffic to deal with to get to it. So Raj, welcome back. Welcome. We're doing great here. And I celebrate the holidays with my family, like my mom and my sisters on the other side of the state, we do it at the beginning of the month. So we kind of beat a lot of the major holiday rush, getting there and back and doing a lot of our plans then with them. And that gives us Christmas to ourselves to do whatever we want. Ooh, that Corona this time it's giving me like a heartburn. I don't normally get heartburn drinking beer. Jeez. You only have Mama's family. That's alright, man. That's not the worst. But I hope you and your mom are at least on okay terms. I mean, out of everyone in my immediate family, I'm closest with my mom too, of course, so. My wife's side, she's only got her mom and dad left. And she's an only child, so she doesn't have any brothers or sisters, but her and her parents are all that's left for her. Oh, there it is. I knew we were missing one. Thankfully, both of my great-grandparents, or not great, both of my great-grandparents passed away a while ago, but I was alive and knowing enough to get to know them, at least. I'm very fortunate for that. To get to know my great-grandparents. And I still have my mom's side of the family's immediate, or my mom's side of the family's grandparents are still around and they're still in good health. My grandpa needs to freaking retire already and quit before he kills himself working anymore. But he won't. He's one of those people, though, at the same time, like, you know they're going to decline fast as soon as they do stop working or stop moving around. So what do you do? I'm going to end up that way, too. I'm going to be 80 years old. I'm going to be on my deathbed in the hospital, fixing these things still. Like, HomePod repairs in the hospital. I'm gonna die and people are still gonna be sending these things to me. What is up, Demon Sheba? Welcome, welcome. And thank you. I quite fancy my keyboards, my human input devices, my hardware interrupt devices, I guess I should say. I'm quite fond of my keyboards. This is a Tex. It's either the Shura or the Shiba. Can't remember. They've got one that's like this, but it's got a big fat palm rest built into it. But I love these because it's got the track point mouse built into it, and left click, right click, scroll wheel, that kind of deal. Absolutely perfect setup for something like this where I need as much desk space as I can get. I have my only complaint about this keyboard is its plastic case. I'm spoiled by the previous iteration of Tex's take on these. They had what was it called? The Tex Yoda. It was a solid aluminum, and I have it at my office. But it's got 2 USB ports built in as well. It acts as a USB hub. It is the king of the server rack. Absolutely. And it is an absolute murder weapon. Alright, Jeff is fixed. We've got an anonymous no power repair up next here. Number 188. Let's get their name switched around here. You guessed it, no power. And after them, let's see who we've got. We've got NP202. Let's go ahead and shoot them an email so they've got plenty of time to join in. 202. Alright. Here we are. Alright, what do we got going on for this one here? No lights, no power, no nothing. The usual, a couple of power pixies from the wall there. Let's get this ripped apart and fixed. I'm surprised by how many HomePods I got for repair. Oh geez, dude, don't, no. Do they break often? So, you got kind of 2 questions there. To answer your first one, well, I guess only one question there. This is a rather large backlog. I normally only get like 3 to 5 a day. But we did take a day off, so. Still, like, we're having like 10 to 15 showing up pretty much every Monday for the past month now. Kind of crazy, but we've been fixing these for the past 3 years. Just a little more than 3 years now. And we've personally fixed about, well, more than 3,000 now. And that might seem like a lot, but if Apple sold like 3 million of these things, I think was the estimated number. Well, and in any case, an acceptable product's failure rate is about 1%, up to 1%. So even if Apple only sold 1 million first-gen HomePods, we would have to fix more than 10,000 of these before somebody, before it's a real deal, actual widespread problem. We're obviously going to have a bias here seeing all these broken ones because we fix them and we offer a repair service. So it's not like the majority of people are going to be sending in perfectly working HomePods. But on the flip side of that, I don't feel very good about the longevity of all of them based on just the design and the way that they use ceramic capacitors as filters that just go bad over time, whether they're being used or not, and that results in a dead subwoofer speaker and more expensive repairs if the problem's ignored. But generally speaking, it does not seem like these break all that often. Now, if you ask us 2 or 3 years from now, things haven't slowed down at all and we're on pace at that point still towards fixing like 10,000 and a trend showing that we'd be well on to 30,000 or more, then I would start, I'd start really thinking otherwise. But unfortunately for younger and more naive Nick, he was wrong, and I don't think there's much grounds here yet for much recall based on purely what we've seen so far and what we've fixed. We don't know how many are out there that will actually fail. We only know what we've seen personally. On the flip side, Apple didn't give its end users a way to restore it if it encounters a show-stopping software issue, so it's like get an adapter made by yours truly, try making one yourself or sell it for parts. Alright. Flip it around. Let's knock out those fart filters first. These have nothing to do with their power issue, but We did find that they are the source of death farts, so we like to get them replaced before they do go bad and cause one of the other most common issues with these HomePods. There we go. A little bit of flux to help the solder flow. All right. Now we can knock out that dead diode. We got a 48K in there. Now, unlike those filtering capacitors that normally go bad over time whether they're being used or not, this diode shouldn't have failed in the first place. It didn't have any reason to. There's a bad batch of these diodes floating around out there, and we can tell by the date code on them if it's a good one or a bad one. We don't even have to test it. So we get that replaced with a brand new, bigger, better, stronger, higher quality diode, and this problem won't happen again. Now, do I think Apple should, recall every single first-gen HomePod? I don't know. They definitely won't, though. And it's not like they can recall only the ones with these bad diodes, because it'd be kind of silly if they did if they had kept track of what date code on that diode went into each HomePod, right? That'd be like keeping track of every single tiny number on every single little tiny part inside of every single HomePod. And they do keep track to a degree of what major components go into each HomePod, but can't blame them for not keeping track of those particular diodes. That said, if a customer shows up with a first gen with no power, they definitely know what caused it at that point, and they should do them right. Ooh, you get back here. Make sure we didn't lose our little gasket on there. Did the problem occur on the second gen? No, it did not. That is a negative. The second gens use a completely different diode, and we haven't ever seen those failing. And like I was saying earlier, those Schottky diodes, they generally don't just fail. It's not one of those parts that go bad. So haven't seen the same issue in the second gen. As for death farts, we haven't seen any of those issues yet either. They may have improved the design of the amplifier or used better filters that last longer. Not sure there yet. And also, we don't know how the second gen behaves when the filters go bad. For all we know, and most likely it's not going to death fart. It might just not make any sound except for a pop as it wakes up and goes to sleep until the subwoofer roasts itself. The first gen death farts because the amp chip that drives the subwoofer's speaker has behavior built in to throw a forced restart and play that death fart sound when those filters go bad and too much DC offsets detected. The second gen, we don't know if the amp does the same thing, and it could just ride along with it until it melts itself down. Only time will tell, but we don't know yet. The second gen has its own issue. That's the ghost touches, the phantom touches randomly, turning the volume up and down and triggering the voice assistant, playing music, stopping music. You know, all stemming from the touch panel acting up or going out of spec and the firmware controller not being able to compensate for it. Much less repairable because you can't find a replacement touch panel, which is what you need to fix the issue. Unless it's a software problem that Apple can push an update out for. You've got 2 Gen 1s and they've been great. Oh yeah, I'm honestly not too surprised. I mean, if you look at the numbers alone, even though we fixed a few thousand of them, that's less than 0.1% of all the units that were possibly sold. So it does seem like they are generally pretty good. Definitely not recall territory. But the problems that they do, the ones that do have issues experience, are common enough between themselves that the ones that do have problems shouldn't have to have a paid repair to get fixed. But that's just my opinion. Sorry about that.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
Alright.
I'm having trouble connecting.
We are fixed. Looking good, sounding good. Let's get the next one up here, 202. And then who's after that? 181? Alright, let's let NP202 is up. So that means we can let NP181 know that they're up next. 181. Is that correct? It looks right. That's not right. Hold up. Where is 181's box? One is a black HomePod. Let's see. No, that's definitely okay. All right. 202 with no power, 181 up next, also no power. I need another one for this. Cheers. All right. What do we got here? No lights, no power, no nothing other than the usual couple of watts from the wall. Before we dig in, where was it? Here it is. We do have a bit of a crack right here. So we want to be careful working around that. We don't want to make it worse. We're going to start somewhere else. We'll start right before it. Whoa! Is that my hand? Nope, but we got real close. Took the scab off my last one. Jeez, these things can be dangerous. There it goes again, trying to send me to the ER. I would rather not. I'm sure there's plenty of people already there after the holidays and their shenanigans. I'd rather not contribute to the problems. I'm here to fix problems, not add more of them. Alright. Flip it around, get it close. Let's get those filters first. What's the ROI on these? What you talking about? Frankly, a little above my head. I don't know if you're talking about the repair in particular and what we charge and how much the parts cost. Or if you're referring to someone trying to buy a broken one and reselling it, or like the ROI on our refurbs that we sell. As far as the parts cost for repairing these filters cost about $1 a piece for good ones. So you're $4 into the filters, you're $1 into the diode, and you're about $1 into the subwoofer gasket that we replaced too. So I mean, parts cost really isn't too bad. It's more so the time, and I mean, having a day job and raising a 2-year-old, finding the time is the toughest part, really. That's why we charge what we charge. You're paying for my time, not the parts. You're paying for my time and me being able to support anything that goes wrong with it for the next year, give or take a few months. I do my best with my warranty, and I'm very confident in our repairs, but you can't, you make mistakes, can't catch everything, but we do what we can. As for the refurbs that we sell, we generally end up paying about $80 to $100 with tax and shipping on a broken one. If we're lucky, somebody will offer to sell us their broken one directly for our asking price of $60. We'll buy broken ones off you for $60, no questions asked. I don't care what condition it's in, I'll give you $60 for it. And I'll give you a shipping label. But typically I shop around on eBay and Goodwill's auction site, and I end up paying $80 to $100 for a broken one shipped to me. And then I charge $160 with US shipping included. So about as much as it would cost to buy a broken one and pay me to fix it for you. Hope that answers your question. Hope that's what you were even asking about. If not, feel free to elaborate. Oh, and then there's the shipping too. I include the shipping in my repair estimates. So shipping each way is usually about $10, give or take a couple dollars, depending on where they are, whether they've shipped it in the original box or not. I prefer people don't use the original boxes because they tend to not protect the HomePod very well after all, and they tend to cost more to ship, so there's just no point. So all that said, let's say we're talking about a no power repair, and I charged somebody $70 for that no power repair, the standard. Minus shipping, that's $50 in my pocket. Minus transaction fees, that's $2 or $3, so that's $57 or $47, and then taxes. I think I pay like 10 to 15%. We'll say 10% and be generous. So That's from the gross, I think. So that'd be $7 off that. So we're looking at $40, and then the cost of parts about $5 total, $6. So we're down to $34. I make about $34 on each HomePod repair, give or take a few dollars. Not a lot. I would charge more, but too many people ask for discounts. I'd rather just and it's a good spot. It's a good. I think it's a fair price. Any less than I would go insane with how many we're getting for how much I'm making. As much as I love fixing them, I've only got so much free time to fix them all, and well, if people want to pay me $100 a HomePod, I'll fix as many as you want me to fix, but $30 to $40 in profit per HomePod. Ooh, it's a little tight. If I can get it done in 20 to 30 minutes, that's not too bad. That's easily, 50 to $70 an hour. That's pretty good, actually. But we're not doing that for a solid 8-9 hours a day, 5 to 7 days a week. We usually only have a couple hours worth of work every day on weekdays. So it's about like its own. It's like I've got a part-time job with an additional part-time income. And one day maybe we'll continue to grow, and more people will be sending more stuff in. We won't be just fixing HomePods, but we'll be fixing all sorts of stuff. And what I'm looking for are the things that there aren't already specialty shops out there fixing. Like, I don't want to be spending my time messing around with iPhones and iPads and MacBooks. There's so many people out there so much better than me at it, and it would take so much effort for me to even match them. That's why I went into HomePods. There was no one out there doing them, let alone anybody that even knew how to fix the thing. Everybody was pretty much, like, you're SOL if it breaks. But I want to fix the stuff that people can't find a fix for, that people think that isn't fixable. That is, if I don't end up working for Apple to help them make their next HomePod or something like that. You know what I mean? But that's the only way I'm gonna quit fixing HomePods, is if Apple hired me to work on the next big HomePod thing. I like HomePods too much. I like what they can do too much, and I know how cool of an experience they can provide for so many other people. For the price, truly magical, spectacular, unmatched for the size and price. And then you get a couple of them placed around you. Oh, game over. You'd have to be spending big bucks to get a better experience. And putting a lot more effort in, a lot more manual effort. Like, yeah, you could go to Goodwill and thrift some speakers and an amp, but then you're gonna have to wire all of that up. It's gonna be quite a directional setup. It's gonna be pretty static. Not gonna have a lot of flexibility. The HomePods, you can just pop them down. You can put them wherever you want. They're gonna sound great, with a few exceptions. But in general, that's the huge kicker. For most people, it works great. You can just put it anywhere, and it tunes itself in real time. Would you say the HomePods are the best smart speaker in its class? I would have to say so, you know? I haven't heard anything that just... I have listened to so many speakers. I haven't listened to, you know, like $5,000, $10,000+ speakers, but I loved, in my past, my favorite pastime would be to go with my friends to Goodwill and just buy up all of the speakers and just mess around with them. And I feel like I had eventually gotten a pretty good taste for a lot of home theater audio speakers and various Bluetooth and smart speakers. I absolutely love speakers. I love them. I love messing with them. I love blowing them up. I love listening to them. I love watching them work. I love how they work. I love new speaker technology. I like watching how people come up with new ways to make different kind of speakers. But just like everything that the HomePod does and everything that they crammed in it, can you find something that's better, like objectively? We're talking 7 tweeters with dedicated amps for each of them. They each pull around like 15 watts. Like they're like 15-watt tweeters. These aren't like little dinky tweeters either. And then you've got the dedicated subwoofer with its own dedicated amplifier. All of that's fit into what looks to be less than a cubic foot of space with smart home integration, and it sounds fantastic. It's got an omnidirectional sound. Like, for what it is, there's nothing else that touches it. And you can go on YouTube and you can find people comparing the sound between this and other competitors, like, and if you're talking about anything that Amazon has, then absolutely not. And I've got quite a lot of headphones too. I don't have anything luxuriously fancy for headphones, but I've got quite the collection of headphones. So I listened to a lot of comparison videos between HomePods and anything else that people have decided to throw at it. And just consistently, over and over again, the HomePod just sounded the best. A lot of the other ones, even the Bose, like, you know, the Bose smart speaker with like the screen on the front of it that's like basically the size of 1.5 of these? It sounds, you can hear the sound of like hollow plastic almost inside of it. Like, everything else out there, like, might have had 1 or 2 things that it did better than the HomePod, but nothing did everything that the HomePod did the best. And like, if anything, one might have had more bass, but like, it just overall didn't sound better. Or one might have had maybe more mids or punchier mids, but it just didn't sound better overall. They knew what they were cooking up here. They nailed it. And then they kind of messed it up with the second gen, but that's my opinion. The second gen sounds perfectly fine and still better than most other smart speakers out there on the market. But they kind of cut it down a little bit. They brought it has that cheap hollow sound in the middle of it that I dislike, that I've been talking about with all the sound comparisons with the first gen. The second gen's got that kind of cheap hollow sound to it in the middle, and I hate it. And if you find my live stream, we were the first to get our hands on a 2nd-gen HomePod and tear it down on YouTube, live in front of you guys. I put my own money into that too, and my immediate reaction when I booted it up and listened to how Siri's voice sounded, it was just yuck. It sounded yuck. Especially when I'm just so used to how the 1st-gen sounds. Kenneth? Sorry I got carried away there. I didn't notice everybody in the chat blowing us up there. Welcome back, Kenneth, and I'm glad to hear that yours are working great. The last one. Yeah, welcome. Welcome. Oh, I'm not going anywhere. I got big plans. I got big dreams. We're gonna do some stuff here. I'm gonna blow up and act like I know all of you and invite you over to a big fun party with 500 HomePods. We're gonna have a big 500 HomePod mansion party. Yeah. Vishal, what is up? What is up? We've got you in the queue here too, my guy. Welcome back. We've got you there. You're actually there up as a wall there. I got you under, what was it? Way Across Life? Yeah. Vishal here wanted to be listed as Way Across Life. Go check them out. Search Way Across Life up on the internet, and you'll find their stuff and check out their story. I think it's pretty neat.
I'm having trouble.
All right. 202 is good. Who's next? 181. 181 and then 213. All right. Let's see. 181 with no power. After that, we've got 213. Looks like we emailed them. All right. What do we got here? The no lights, the no power, and the usual power draw. Let's get this fixed up. We've got some slightly more interesting HomePods to fix up here today, or more interesting HomePod issues than the standard no power that I would like to get to. Once I'm done cutting this open, I'll catch up with the chat there. This is a delicate operation, and I don't want to send myself to the ER with the tool slipping out and scratching myself. The battle scars. We got one there, we got one there. Actually, that's it. Oh, there's another one there. I need one of those, like, archery gloves that they got for their fingertips but for this part of my hand, because I need my fingertips to be able to work with some of this stuff. I can't wear full gloves. I need to feel. There's a windstorm coming in. I hope my power doesn't get knocked out. Stubborn, huh? There we go. Okay. Dangerous part's over. What do we got here? What's the magic of the HomePods? I thought they were just voice assistants. Well, to some people that is really all they are. But the magic sauce comes from how much power that they've crammed into such a small speaker and just how good it sounds. Like if you place it in a room and you walk around the room, it's gonna sound pretty much the same anywhere you stand. The problem with a lot of like floor standing and sound bars and TV speakers and all that is they're either small, shallow sounding, and very directional. So as soon as you walk off axis of that direct sound path, it starts to sound different, weird, off, whatever. For a lot of people, this doesn't even matter. All they care about is hearing what they want to hear. And that's people talking or the basic parts of a song, like it's more passive listening and they just don't really care how it sounds. They just want the beat going, you know? But what made it really magical for me was you know, like I said, I've played with so many different speakers, and I was traveling for work, and our boss brought in their HomePod into the hotel room, and this is before I really cared anything about HomePods. But he set it down on the table in front of us, and he started playing music from it, and I couldn't believe my ears and eyes that something that was this small and just sitting and right in front of me could have such a wide, big, full sound. And the fact that I could just get up and walk around and it still sounded that good through the whole hotel room just blew my mind. And it sounded so clean and clear and deep and all these things that, like, when you see somebody pop a speaker this big on a table, your expectation is something akin to an Amazon Echo. Or just some subpar listening experience that's like, oh boy, this guy brought his party speaker. Cool. Time to be obnoxious. No. This is something completely different. This is it's a lot it's classic Apple. They take something like basically what, you know, if you know the SingCell Alpha or the DeVLA speakers, they've taken something that's just so good and they've brought it down to, sure, yeah, it's expensive, but the next best thing is thousands of dollars. You're talking going from a cheap Bluetooth speaker being $100 to $200 to DeVLA Phantoms and I mean, is there anything else out there? I don't know. I haven't had a chance to listen to DeVLAs and the likes like that. I've got a few SingCell Alphas, and that's nothing's impressed me like HomePods, except for SingCell, or the Sing and their Cell Alpha. So you've got how good a single one of these sounds. And then you've gotten your mind blown all over that. And then you get your hands on two of them. You stereo pair them, and you stick your head in the middle of them. And it's a whole nother world all over again. Like, when I got my first HomePod, I was re-listening to all of my music to find what I hadn't heard before. And then when I got two HomePods and I stereo paired them together, I did all of it all over again. And I kept finding and hearing new things that I had never heard or felt in my music before. And it's that experience that made me want to fix these so bad and get so many more of them for myself, and then eventually bring that experience and keep that experience going to everyone else, as many people as possible. Because it's the best that I'd ever heard up to that point, and I'm sure it's going to be the best that many other people will have ever heard too. It's all right. This is giving me Joker vibes here. They use freaking super glue for thread locker sometimes, so you got to sit here and work it. I do not want to deal with broken screws today. There we go. Have I tried the HomePod Mini, and do I think that's a better buy for someone looking for a budget option? Absolutely. If you really can't, like, if spending a couple $100 on a full-sized HomePod or a couple of them is just far outside of your reach, the Mini, oh man, what they did with the Mini, they're a little expensive, but yet again, for the size, I don't think I've heard a speaker sound as good as the Mini without being bigger. It's just truly impressive how good they can sound and how big they can sound for how small they are. Maybe I could just be totally full of myself and totally biased. I've seen other people rip the Minis apart and they just absolutely hate those things. But as a budget option, dude, you could get a couple of these. It was fantastic. I'll tell you what. When my mother-in-law came over and stayed with us for a few months, I set up an Apple TV in the guest room that they were staying in, and all I did was I put 2 HomePod Minis in there, one on each side of the bed. And she was like, "Oh my god, this is the best thing that I've ever heard as far as like TV speakers or anything that I've ever heard in my home. This is the best I've ever heard." A pair of Minis, my guys. And she was like, "Next time I come over here, I want you to make sure that you have that set up for me again so I can use it." And this is my stepmom. Like she's calling me, like asking how to import photos from this, that, and like she's your typical tech. I can't say tech illiterate because she knows how to, she can pick her phone up and search stuff, and she's not the worst out there, but like that's a major demographic of some of these products. And again, and still, I think the Mini is fantastic for what it is. And if you can't, it's just a great option. I have a couple of Minis obviously for myself too, not just for the guest room. I've got 2 in the bathroom because I don't want to stick a full-size one in there and have the humidity wreck it. But the Mini is built a little differently. It is built to tolerate the humidity a little more than the first gen was. So I feel better putting a couple of Minis in the bathroom. And I've got a couple of Minis at my office, at my desk. They provide an excellent sound stage for listening privately without disturbing other people in cubicles nearby. And I'm fortunate enough that I can run them at my office without anybody caring. Alright, this is not funny. You get over there, and you stay there until I'm ready for you. You get there, and you go there. Alright. I want to scoot that top one down a little bit. It's a little close to that capacitor right next to it. There we go. Ooh, yeah, when will they update the Mini? I expect them to do something with that around iOS 19. It'll give them a good excuse to release refreshed hardware for them and put something Apple Intelligence exclusive in it. And like, used minis are a heck of a deal too. You can get a used mini for like 40 to 50 bucks. There's no sense in buying a new one. Buy a used one. Well, actually, warranty is a very good reason to buy a new one. Do these connect to your TV like a sound bar? They don't work like a Bluetooth or auxiliary speaker, so to say. You have to have a device that can AirPlay to them. So like an Apple TV, if you have an Apple TV that's plugged into your TV, then you can use the Apple TV to play the picture on your TV and the sound on your HomePods. But there's no way to, right, like if you've just got a smart TV, and even if it lets you like play via Bluetooth to some speakers, it won't let you AirPlay. You have to have an Apple device to AirPlay stuff for now. You don't need an Apple device to receive AirPlay, but you need to have an Apple device to send AirPlay. If the EU has it the way they want it, they might be forcing Apple to open up AirPlay to work with Android and the likes, so that might change. We'll see. Oh, another reason why HomePods are so much better than any other Bluetooth speaker out there is it doesn't use Bluetooth. And that's a huge con for a lot of people, but AirPlay is so much better than Bluetooth. So much better. As far as audio quality and what it can do, Bluetooth is kind of yuck. And I've never really been too happy with Bluetooth audio quality. Yet again, I have got a pair of AirPods Pro and AirPods Max, and those are fantastic. I'm impressed with how good they made Bluetooth sound. But for a full-sized speaker, the audio quality starts to really matter when you start to crank the volume and the amplification up. It becomes critical that the source audio is quality and garbage in, garbage out. So if it's using Bluetooth, it's going to sound like crap, especially when you have a bunch of these in a room trying to wirelessly sync with each other and stream 128 kilobytes per second MP3 or whatever. Yeah. AirPlay's the boss. And I can kind of understand why Apple... Like, it'd be nice if the option was there. Like, if it would at least be there for people to go, okay, yeah, this does sound worse. I'll use AirPlay instead of Bluetooth. But I do get why they don't let you do it, because it just wouldn't sound very good, and it would maybe even give them a negative reputation that they're trying to avoid, or a negative image. You can eARC from the TV to the Apple TV. Yes, you can do that. It's, I don't know if it's still in beta or not, and I always hear people posting about problems with it, but your mileage may vary. That could work just fine for you. I personally haven't messed with it much more than a few seconds and going, oh, that's cool. There's no point for me personally, because everything my smart TV does, my Apple TV does better. And I'd rather just have it run all on my Apple TV than try to return the audio from the TV to the Apple TV, and then from that to the HomePods. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? J-Rock, baby. You know what I'm saying? unfortunately, that is all the time that we've got for here and now. I apologize, NP213 and everyone else waiting, but family first. My wife just pulled into the driveway and I'm getting hungry, so we've been at it for more than 2 hours here now, so I think that's a reasonable time to call it quits. Talk to me. Talk to me. Tell me something. Say something. Anything. Let me out of here.
I'm having trouble connecting to the...
Yes. All right. Folks, that's it for here and now. I hope you all enjoyed this live stream repair, and I hope to catch you in another one soon. If you want a chance to win one of my HomePod USB docks, I've got a link to my survey in the video description below. Just fill that out to enter, and I'll be picking winners on January 1st. I hope to catch